What's up, guys? This is the Variant Hood again right here in the Big Apple. I hope you guys are not getting tired of me because I got another awesome interview over here at New York Comic Con, and this one is with Robert Kirkman and the whole crew for the new universe of Energon with Transformers, Void Rivals, and the G.I. Joes, Cobra Commander, Duke, and the entire crew. But this is from the press junket that we had over at New York Comic Con. I didn't have my mics hooked up, so the sound isn't going to be the greatest, but the information is. So check this out and stay cool, y'all.
Who's the best fit, and again, that was it right there, where it's like, who actually works in these moments. Yeah, it came from a couple different places like that.
And are you getting, the back and forth, like, well, you can't use this person because of X, Y, and Z, and how you pivot from that?
It hasn't been necessarily X, Y, and Z. It really is about what you're saying. It's about patience. You know, it is more about patience, and I can be very patient with it. And I'm trying to get every character I can in quickly. But I think it was something. There was one scene in particular that I wrote, and that was when I kind of learned the lesson of like every single one of these characters needs to have the best identity possible. And I didn't want to have a scene where it's like, okay, I've already seen one character in a cool way, but then in the deep background it's wrong. Right? I didn't want to do it that way. So I started going through let's just bring him in the best way possible, and then I'll call Sean and talk through some of the stuff with him. And I don't necessarily get any pushback aside from doesn't make sense for the story. You know, and then again, stop trying to put every character in the quick.
Cards Nation. My question is for Daniel. I'm a huge Transformers fan, and the IDW Transformers run kind of dominated for a very long time. It's become like a staple of what people think about when they think about the Transformers lore. Then, in that case, what would your approach then be kind of making sure that you still were speaking to Transformers fans, but like, it's not IDW, this is Skybound, we're doing something new, and so kind of, I don't know if that question makes sense, but
Well, I didn't read that much IDW stuff before starting the outline of Transformers series. I read All Hail Megatron. I really like that. But if I can be just totally honest, I've been kind of outside of the Transformers meta for a while, except for trying to buy Optimus Prime toys. I haven't been in it, so it's not really like anything that I was trying to nod to or avoid, or not really. I was just trying to make something that I was excited about. And and I was reading a lot of Gundam The Origin too. I was more into Gundam The Origin than anything else, the art style and stuff like that. So I was just kind of trying to bring myself to the table, and I feel like a lot of people know what I have to offer story-wise, and I'm just trying to channel that energy into random blue robots.
So Robert, you and kick off
It's been kicking around probably a year or so before we actually got the license. There was a brief moment where we thought that getting the license might be possible, and that's when I came up with the idea of doing a stealth series launch that would eventually be revealed to be related to Transformers. But it didn't become real until Hasbro started talking to us, and we made our big pitch to get Transformers and G.I. Joe, because we were actually competing with a lot of companies to try and get the rights. And that was a key part of our pitch, was that we were going to create this new universe, or this new side of the universe, and do this shared universe. And that was really fun, because once that pitch happened, it became real. Lorenzo actually did a piece of art for that pitch, that's kind of like early proto Void Rival stuff. You'll see it in an eventual hardcover, and the characters are completely different. The environment's completely different. It's like a completely different like alien situation, and it's because we were kind of we really hit the ground running, like developing this thing like as the pitch was being written, and then we didn't do that much work on it because we didn't know if everything was going to go through. So the second we actually like landed the rights and got to work, I had to call Lorenzo up and be like, so here we go. Are you ready to create like a whole like universe with me of new characters and new vehicles and new environments and also have like the design limitations that it has to fit in with Transformers and G.I. Joe. It's a tremendous amount of work that we were able to do in a fairly rapid amount of time just because he is so talented.
I'm Lisa from Comics Counseling, and this question is for Tom. Too, if you'd like to answer it. But we're getting the G.I. Joes at their beginning, so we can't get them like fully baked yet. There still need to be things that we love about them that are not there. Did you find yourself trying to withhold some elements so that they can be revealed later?
Definitely, yeah, because this is a long story, and this is right at the beginning, so there's definitely things I would have liked to add that you kind of got to pull yourself back and not put them in, because that'll come later, or it won't. I don't know. It's definitely hard. You want to draw cool stuff.
Yeah, he did a design. You see the costume that people bring on the cover. We were just talking about this with Kunal the other day, and it's like you're actually going to see that. You see it at the beginning, but you're not going to see it again for a while. If you look at the preview, you see we kind of have this rougher, on-the-run Duke in the book, and so we did the design for him, and we were talking about this, of like, when are we going to get into a different book? And it's like, well, we want the story to kind of lead and let it breathe a bit, and see this version of you for a little bit. So it is again, it's about patience.
Yeah. And it's got to serve the story, so I would love to draw a bunch of cool stuff.
Yeah. I just want to give praise to all artists, because I think a hidden talent that you don't see on the page all the time is all the artists up here are incredible designers. There's a lot of thought that goes into all of it, and like, yes, there's source material, but like Tom turned in a design for a character and gave us 3 different looks, and what that allowed us to do is like unlock extra stories to make those looks come into the book. Yeah. They're very toyetic, and we want to evolve the looks and be able to embrace different parts of the history. So.
All right, for Robert, because you guys told us about the story about how you entered to Hasbro and give them the idea, but we saw in the previous movie that they are starting in the same on the big screen. So I'm curious who was first and who was feeding on whom.
With the lead time with movies and things, it was probably them, but we weren't aware of what they were doing with the movies. It was kind of funny. In our first meetings with Hasbro, they were like, we really like the way that you guys are combining universes and putting them in one big thing, and it's kind of in line with some things that we're developing, but we can't really talk about, like, they're very coy about like all the stuff that they're doing behind the scenes, and it wasn't until like a couple months before the movie came out or something that they started like more overtly like oh yeah, this is coming. But yeah, the publishing side of things is very different than their like movie development, everything that they do with Paramount. So like the two different sides are aware of what the other sides are doing to a certain extent, but we have free reign to do whatever, and it's not like nothing that they're doing on the film side is holding us back.
You were telling us about the killing of the Bumblebee in the first issue. They did the same in the movie.
Yeah.
Like they opened with that.
I was watching that movie going like, oh my god, like we're just so in sync right now.
That's so funny.
But our Bumblebee won't be back by the end of the movie.
Dan Brewer, Comics XF. So, Robert, I have to imagine this is the ultimate version of growing up, having some success, and using your money to buy toys back.
Statement.
Are you sure you're not with the comics therapy?
How did you go about picking these wonderful creators to play in these worlds and trust the characters?
Well, I am very busy, and so I just make Sean do it.
That is the most honest answer I've ever heard.
But no, Sean and I had discussions, and he suggested, pretty much everyone up here except for Lorenzo. Like I wanted to keep working with Lorenzo, but
I actually said, please don't. He's working on another book, and we need to focus on making sure that finishes on time.
and I said no.
True. That's how comics get finished.
But I mean, I love everyone up here, and I love Josh's work. Daniel is amazing. When I saw that Tom was involved, I was like, oh my god! Like I've been following this guy, followed Tom on Twitter for many years. I love seeing his work. All the commissions and sketches and things that he posts are excellent. Super upset when he started working with Josh at DC. He's like, these guys, they gotta do more creative own work. I didn't know. I thought it was going to be a long time. So then when we got it back for Duke, I was like, yes. But yeah, I mean, I'm really happy with the team that Sean's been able to assemble.
That's what I'm saying about Josh. You mentioned that Cobra Commander is like a horror book, like that genre theme. So what is Duke then?
It's action. Well, action, espionage. We really wanted to be kind of a spy thriller at the same time. Because again, he's searching for truth. And so I didn't want it to be, it's not going to be like non-stop action. I think every issue we make sure is a big action set piece. But I definitely see it as a bit of an espionage book.
Yeah, we have sort of a storytelling rules for the universe. A lot of that comes from Robert suggesting let's go back to when fans just want to engage with a single issue, and we're starting off with action, subplots, a lot of 80s Jim Shooter inspired rules, except with better handling of creators and talent.
You talked about pacing in the panel. Did you guys have did outlines go back and forth for this needs more action and this kind of needs to pop more?
Yeah, I mean, when we're developing a new series, it's here's a spot where I see everything first, so I'm trying to connect the dots. So it's if we have a room to put a Cobra piece into another book that organically fits, I suggest that. Some of it's just by feel, and then also like Josh says, when he's writing a script, sometimes he's feeling something is sagging but shouldn't be there, so he'll insert an element, and then we'll make it work.
Yeah, or sometimes when I feel that a little bit, I'll just call it and be like, I think this scene is this, and this, we talk to it.
I think that everyone who has been reading comics for a long time really loves the shared universe aspect of comic storytelling. I think that that's the reason that the Marvel movies have been so successful, because they've been able to replicate that. And I think that as people have grown more accustomed to that, both the Marvel and DC universes have grown so large and so involved that they've become kind of encumbered by the continuity that's happening. And so what we're trying to do here is we're trying to bring that magic of a shared universe together so that you get all the benefits of having different aspects of the books cross over with each other, but we're not going to get so large so fast that it gets unwieldy or too complicated. So we're trying to have the best of both worlds, keep things streamlined, but have all of those elements that work together. We're excited about it.
Josh, are we gonna get Duke is a really stoic character always when I was watching him in cartoons, and he couldn't do no wrong. Are we gonna see a more fleshed out Duke character, more human side of him?
Yeah, and that was part of what with him and approaching him, and that's part of what it was like. You can see the preview a little bit. It was I'm gonna show you who Duke is, and then we're gonna break him a little bit. Break him so we can build him back up, and in the process of building him back up, we can learn a little bit more about him, where he came from, and why he is the way he is. But yeah, that was definitely the point of you just look at the preview page, you can see where I was with the opening few pages that Tom did that are amazing. I was looking at those first few pages as if we were watching the cartoon, and that was the intro, that was the opening with the music. That was what I wanted with those first three, and then you do the cut. It's well, no, this is what's happening. You're seeing him a little more broken. And dealing with we talked about the panel where it's he's now questioning a lot of things, and in those questioning things you're learning more about it, and then we get to build it back up.
So you're gonna break us like Daniel did when he killed Bumblebee?
I mean, you gotta read the book.
Because that was that's sad, man. I was like, why did you? What? Then
there was a moment where I went to LA 2 weeks ago to see these guys, and I literally went to them and I was like, guys, he's killed people. I gotta start killing people. We gotta figure something out. And I was like, can I make a list of people I can kill?
and the thing about it is you put it on the front page of the second print, man. It's
that's true.
But I mean, there's a reason why it's called Duke. We want to make Duke like a franchise character. Cobra Commander, I think, is, but like these aren't characters that have supported their own solo titles before. We want to make sure that you understand the impact in the universe and what these characters mean to us. And yeah, it's risky to put out a book called Duke, but like it's not G.I. Joe : Duke. Like we want to say like this is our star right now, and I think that we're succeeding.
But as a fan, I thoroughly enjoyed it, Dan. It was a new take, and it really it made an impact on the new universe. And I was like, yeah, you guys are going for it, man.
Usually hate Bumblebee too. That's what I do.
My kid cried.
Yes!
That's the goal of every writer.
Yeah, he might grow up to write Transformers comics.
I'd explain to him what dying means.
I'll be the guy that whoever squishes.
Omega Comic Crusaders. First of all, thank you guys. I'm a big nerd for bringing this home over here. Sorry about that. All right, so with such a wide array of iconic characters to choose from these universes, how did you go about choosing the players in your stories?
Daniel, you want to take that one first?
Well, Optimus Prime had to be there, of course, and I basically picked Transformers I wanted to draw the most. So that's how I picked.
All right.
It's a very simple question.
Answer. I think it really started from who I wanted to write, and then again, it was like we were talking about before. It was like, which character I loved as a kid, which ones I want to write, and then the most important was who made the most sense for the story. Because there were other characters I wanted to write, it didn't make sense at this point, and so we were like, okay, we're gonna push it back. So it's dependent on what's best for the story. Like Merch was an example of a character I loved as a kid that I was like, I really want to do more with him, but I wanted to show him with Cobra first. Or maybe he stays there. I don't know. He might stay there forever.
Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? You don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Void Rivals is largely new characters, but a lot of the decisions, I mean, we're contained to space, so a lot of the characters we have access to are like more sci-fi characters, like the Quintessons and Sexoid and some other things that we'll see. But it's really just me as a kid going, oh, I want to see Lorenzo draw this guy. I want to see Lorenzo draw this guy. And it's just me being that selfish.
I need my Megatron, so please.
Where is Megatron? Where
is? Please, I'm curious. That's the one I'm fiending for, please.
Yeah.
In Void Rivals, were these characters that you've thought of like over the years, and that you want to add? Like in some, Robert Kirkman universe, you're like, in 10 years, I know I'm gonna get Transformers, and these are the characters I want to add to that.
So the Space Alien story came through then.
It was really just me sitting down with Lorenzo and going, okay, like, let's have characters do this and that. And us trying to backwards engineer something that felt like it could have been on toy shelves next to G.I. Joe and Transformers in the 80s. And so it was all kind of built from the ground up.
Yeah, it's really beautifully drawn and written. So
it's really easy when you're working with someone this talented.
I think this is the original intent of The Walking Dead, wasn't it? It wasn't supposed to be a space alien invasion, so you got the story, you fulfilled it.
Yeah, I mean, I personally, I think there's a tremendous amount of potential in these characters and in this universe. I think that there's no limit to the iconic characters that have existed for many, many years in both Transformers and G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe is one of the best rogues galleries, like in anything. And, there's so many great stories that we can tell with the great Transformers characters. So my goal is to do something that audiences like myself that have been experiencing these characters for years will love and enjoy, but to also create this shared universe that is this environment that has these characters playing off each other in a way that hopefully people that know nothing about these characters can come in and see, like, that we're building our own world, our own universe that has as much depth and intrigue and potential as what Marvel and DC have been able to build. So the goal is to try and make something that a wide array of people can read. And I think that, taking my audience that have been reading my Creator Own books and giving them Void Rivals and slipping a Transformer in it and making it then, go, oh, okay, well, I know this Daniel Warren Johnson guy did this do a powerbomb thing, and this is super cool, so I like his work. So I don't read Transformers, but I'm not going to try this book. And we actually are pulling in people that we're, I'm hearing constantly. I don't know a lot about Transformers and G.I. Joe, but these things are cool as heck. And that's really exciting to us. And at the same time, we're trying to straddle that line so that we're honoring the fan base that already exists and doing things that will appeal to them as well. So we're trying to do everything all at once.
Guys, you have a partner in this, Hasbro, and you said that this is a good partnership. But I'm wondering, did you hit any wall where they said, no, that's too much? Or did you thought maybe something was that radical and then, okay, I'm interested, how are the boundaries looking when you're working with such a partner?
I mean, they have visibility into all the media and all the incarnations. Like Michael Kelly's been there for 18 years. He's seen everyone do everything. They did a shared universe not that long ago. So even when our first conversation meeting him was like, and our big idea is a shared universe, and he just kind of looked at us like, I thought this was going to be better. But then after we delivered our pitch, and the pitching process is very intense, but we wanted to showcase, basically a 18, 24-month plan, and he came back and he said this is the best execution I could have imagined anyone doing. So, no, I mean, really supportive. There's a couple things. I would say he challenges us to make sure that we rise to the occasion. I think that with creators like this, it's not that hard. I think it's more about maintaining this level of quality for the next 3 to 5 to 10 years. That's going to be the challenge. So,
anybody?
Omar from Near Make Edition, fellow Kentucky. So this, I don't know if you can answer this. This is about rights. When you said Hasbro getting rights to G.I. Joe and Transformers, because we've not only had IDW, but also Dreamwave, Marvel, and my channel focuses on collected editions, and that's what people want to see in some of the older stuff. I love that aspect of Transformers, but I've been wanting to do since I was a kid. So how does that apply? Like, is it all across the board, or is that something that you'll have to look into to do like collected editions of the older stuff, especially the Marvel stuff that feature like Spider-Man and things like that?
Sean, you want to chat?
Yeah, we're working through all this. We will definitely be packaging a backlist of Transformers and G.I. Joe. But yeah, we're working through that. We want to make sure that these are as they originally printed. So it takes some patience. But we do, in November, we're putting out a new edition of G.I. Joe, Real American Hero #1, called the Larry Hamacut. When we first took this over, I'd seen all these interviews with Larry talking about how some of his original dialogue was edited by his editor, and just from the spirit of our company, we're like, that's messed up. Like, we should fix that. We asked Hasbro, were they cool with that? And they're like, yeah, if Larry wants to do it. And it's something that Larry was really appreciative of. The first time that G.I. Joe 1 is using the original dialogue that he wrote 40 years ago. So, yes, we will have announcements over the next 3 to 6 months about what we'll be doing. But yeah, you can expect to see some of that stuff published.
I mean, I've said in a lot of interviews that the Energon universe is our focus right now, but it's not the only thing that we're doing with these properties. There's a lot of things like G.I. Joe, Real American Hero that exist outside of the Energon universe that we'll be doing, and a lot of that is going to be reprinting classic material from the other publishers.
And next year is Transformers 40th anniversary, so we'll definitely be plugged in there and take part in that.
Jody Royer is an amazing colorist, one of the best ever. Did you guys have conversations about the Energon universe that I want this book to feel and look this way, and I want Duke to look this way? And what was those conversations about, color palettes and things like that?
I think when I signed on, Sean just asked me who I wanted as a colorist, and I said I'd like to have Jordy because she is one of the best ever. And she said, "Do it." That's how the sausage gets made. Yeah.
It's something I'm very sensitive to as artists in the relationship with colorists. I mean, it's something Lorenzo was talking about and probably speak more thoughtfully about. But that's just something, if an artist is like, this is who I want to work with, and they're great and professional, I don't put them any wall there. As long as they hit their deadlines. So if you want to speak on that. I mean, Lorenzo also is a colorist too.
Yeah. I mean, my relationship with colors as an artist has always been very, important to me. And every time, it happened with the Oblivion song, and again, it happened now with World Rivals, and I was asked
who want to color it, and it's always been my first pick because
they want to work with you. That's what it is. It's like you know.
Yeah, and then like I mean, now in Void Rivals I'm working with Devil's Promise and having a blast with it because I mean it's just you don't need to interact that much. He's really good. He has an open dialogue with me and he asks me about stuff and opinions and stuff. And that's the best way to work with them is to have a constant back and forth, you know. And yeah, we didn't have any, like overall discussion about palettes throughout the series. Work on each series, as its own world. So.
Yeah, and I think with your character designs come with colors, so once you go to those home worlds, it's like using that color as a theme to inform like how that world looks. Like that was, in Zertonia, it's very much about what this design looks like.
Yeah, because the two characters, the protagonists, are color coded in a way. Like the colors that I choose for the designs, in a way that the colors mirror their own personalities. And so the only input that I give that was that the world that the city is the part of the ring that barracks or Delilah for us. I just told Mateus that they should have mirror their own palettes to make it more recognizable, and that was it.
Dan's worked with Mike Spicer for like 8 years, and like you see emails coming like in the last month. He's like, I think this is the best work you've done, which is like seeing that relationship evolve is like that's like a huge compliment, and it's on the page. So.
I just sent Mike screenshots of the pieces and went over this.
I saw that last kind of good. But my question for you, you kind of have a different take in putting your piece together since you're doing the writing and the art. How much more effort does it take? Do you find yourself looking at the design and say, okay, we redo that script a little bit, let the script say, hey, we want to tweak that panel a little bit more?
Yeah, sometimes that happens. It's just like a very natural extension of just being an artist as well. Sometimes I'll write some specific things that happen to the script. It's mostly logistical, like a character needs to point A to point B, or like a note in a fight scene or something that I didn't change on. I lay out an entire issue visually before I draw it. So Skybound sees that before I start drawing it too. So it's pretty fluid. It's mostly like small details that get changed. Nothing super major. I write full scripts for myself as like the artist because I like working on like a very concrete foundation before I start actually spending time drawing it. So there's not too many surprises that happen between the script and the final art. At least I'd like to think so.
And my second question goes to the act already. So it's kind of easy to see how the Joes and the Transformers may interact sooner rather than later. Derek and Delilah in the land bar don't tell the story. Has there been a conversation already about that point where there's this massive crossover between all of them?
I mean, there hasn't been a lot of like specific discussion, but I think the existence of the Rock and Solila in the Sacred Ring so far out in space is a clear indication of how expansive the Energon universe is eventually going to become. I think that both Transformers and G.I. Joe have their like humble beginnings, like on Earth in the original like iterations, and especially with Transformers, you saw them expand into the cosmos as that story continued. And a lot of that cast is still out there, so we're just going to see this universe grow and grow and grow like as time goes on. I'm not saying that there's definitely some kind of event we're building towards. That's something that we're going to be very mindful of. The dangers of in comics is becoming too event dependent. So we're not gonna do that. The thing is the universe is gonna expand. It's gonna get way more involved, and we'll see these characters that you may think will never interact when you least expect it.
Can you talk about the balancing and the messaging between the Energon universe and G.I. Joe, Field American Hero? At some point, issues be coming out at the same time. Is there concern there?
I think we work with design at Skybound very closely to make sure that the branding is very clear. I mean, if you look at the Energon Universe books, they have this very clear corner box that has this Energon Universe indicator and has these cool characters in the top right corner, like harkening back to like classic comics. And that's something that's going to be present on all the Energon Universe books and is very much not present on Real American Hero. And there will be very clear logo differences, and we're making sure that we're keeping the separation of church and state as clear as possible, because one of the things that we're trying to accomplish here is as clear and easy to follow as all of my creator-owned books have been, with the different kinds of formats and not doing too many spin-offs, like keeping things as uniform as possible so that the consumer experience is as easy as it can be. When you burden the consumer with, well, this is the Captain America from this, and this is the Captain America from that, and this trade follows this, and this trade follows that, it's confusing for almost everyone immediately. I mean, as a collector, if I go into the back issue bins now, it is a nightmare, because there have been 1,000 issue 2s in the last 8 years, and it's like, I don't, like, in back issues, I don't know how this works anymore. It's like the system is completely broken. And so it's something that drives me crazy as a fan. And so I'm in a position of power in Skybound so that I can make sure that the fan part of me isn't driven crazy by the stuff that we're doing. So that rambling answer is just my way of saying it's something we're on top of, and it's something that is very, very, very important to us.
So any thematic parallels we find between these books, we can just credit to the zeitgeist, because this, fundamental truth is revealed, and nothing really changes. And we know the G.I. Joes, the Transformers at the beginning involve a fundamental truth there is also going to be revealed. And what kind of change are we going to see? Are those kinds of parallels just coincidental, what's on time?
It's that haphazard. A lot of what I'm doing in Void Rivals is I'm trying to get you deeper and deeper into that corner of the universe, and that corner of the universe is currently very separate. But once you know how Zertonian life is and how Aborian life is and what the rules of their world is, as we get deeper and deeper into the next arc, you'll see more connections to other things in the Energon universe, and things will start to make sense. But if you're leaning in and you're wondering, wait a minute, does this connect to this? How does this connect to this? Is this setting this up? That's by design. The whole purpose of all of these books is so that you're constantly going, okay, wait a minute, what's going on here? Is this gonna connect? And sometimes it will, and sometimes it won't. But even in cases that it doesn't, it's gonna lead to something else that hopefully is exciting.
But deeper and deeper when we get into Void Rivals, we go, oh no, Void Rivals is here, right? You find out that they're all the same, but we're still not going to get along.
Right. There is larger, meta components, the drilling things down to two opposing forces is kind of what unites Void Rivals, G.I. Joe, and Transformers. There are two very clear factions that are opposing each other in each one of those brands, properties, whatever. And that was kind of a fun thing to analyze, and a fun building block that has helped Lorenzo and I build Void Rivals into what it is.
Daniel, you've done a lot of amazing work in the creator space. When do you decide, what about a project makes you want a licensed project like Transformers or makes you want to jump on for whatever
Yeah, I just honestly, I was really trying to get right back into making another creator-owned thing right after doing Powerbomb, and I was just having writer's block, and I was not feeling very motivated. Probably because I stuck the landing so well until Comic-Con. I'm like, oh shoot, I gotta give myself a break so I can figure out how to top this one. Because I feel very strongly about its quality and how well I was able to kind of make a full, complete story that's satisfying. So, you know, in some ways, Transformers is a little bit of a breakthrough. It's a little bit of like a vacation. Because like I love the Energon universe, I love Transformers, but the stakes are way lower for me to work on something like this that I don't necessarily have ownership over. So there's a very distance there, which I think can be very healthy and kind of provides a bit of a recharge for me to kind of go back and approach future creator-owned books with a little more gusto. It's just like two different flavors that I kind of need to go back and forth with. I found what's most helpful for me as a creator, and I really don't want to burn out. So, you know, if I were to do creator-owned books over and over and over and over, I think I'd just stop caring. I don't want to.
Yeah, I think that mirrors like our approach to the business of Skybound getting into licensed comics later, or like, you know, after 10 years of publishing, was we want to increase our readership, create a larger funnel into Skybound so we can show a lot of fans that would just come to Transformers comics or G.I. Joe comics and discover Murder Falcon, Oblivion Song, Dark Ride, Birthright, like all these wonderful series we do. So it really is just opening up this huge funnel and exposing different parts of Skybound and Image Comics. Showing them a wider
sort of coming back to what you said about characters like Skeptoid and the like, are we going to be seeing any other references to G1 characters, I guess, like Slizardo or...
Yeah, I was going to say, I mentioned Slizardo, but, you know, I can't go too long without seeing that guy. I mean, come on.
Are we going to get a one-off comic, maybe?
No.
What about from the movie, the 80s movies and references?
Yeah, I mean, there's gonna, I mean, you know, just playing with toys here, so yeah, I want to play with those toys. There's a lot of cool like aspects to the sci-fi nature of not only that movie but season 2 and 3. There's a number of alien planets that are introduced, a number of like new societies, different robotic like creatures and things, I like part of the fun of Void Rivals is telling a contained story with these new characters that, you know, makes sense and has its own narrative drive. But being able to do these fun cameos and bring them into the narrative, I think by the time you get to issue 5, you'll realize, like, oh, Skeptoid is a regular character in this book now. Like, oh, okay, like he's a member of the cast. We're going to see him, you know, more and more. And there's other elements that'll pop in and then keep popping in. I think Invincible is a good example of how I like to do storytelling, where, you know, there'll be a fun subplot that happens in issue 6, and then you'll be reading issue 18, and it's like, oh, that totally mattered. I didn't know that subplot was so important to the long run of this book. Void Rivals will continue like that.
Question for the artist. So, since we're looking at the toy properties and cartoons, while you're drawing, do you ever watch or listen to soundtracks of the cartoons?
I do when I'm writing. I know I'm doing G.I. Joe, but I love the Vince Nicola soundtrack, the 80s movies and all-timers, so I'll sometimes listen to that, the Autobots versus Decepticons battle, stuff like that. Just a lot of 80s music stuff, sick guitars, just to get into the mood of the action that I'm drawing.
I don't know, I'm kind of joking. The only kind of music that I draw is like classical music, because I want to feel fancy. And that's it. I don't know. Maybe
Of course. Some of my best pages recently when I'm drawing issue 4 right now. Some of my best drawings have come out while having the Golden Bachelor on the back.
That's fancy.
It's so bad.
Not the answer I expected. Okay, we have some time left. I want to make sure everybody gets their questions, so let's do one more run through. Everybody gets their
where there's so many different stories within the universe, where it needs to with this shared universe, is there a idea to make sure that it never gets too confusing, or that people can catch on what's within? I know you mentioned different when you're just making this universe, what are you saying about let's not have stories that way everything
Well, I think it's there'll be a ton of stories. Well, I mean, there's going to be things outside of the Energon universe, so that's where you'll see, possibly some side stories or things that take place in another continuity or a new continuity or whatever. But the goal right now is, that there will be a Void Rivals issue 50. There will be a Transformers issue 50. There will be, eventually, whatever G.I. Joe books with Blaze Duke or Cobra Commander. Everything will be contained within a series that makes sense. So, our Transformers series is not going to be stacks and stacks of mini-series and other series that are all coming out at the same time. Within the Energon universe, Transformers stories will be told in the Transformers series. And hopefully we'll get to 100 and 150. I mean, I'm trying to look at this with far-reaching plans in mind, just because IDW had the licenses for 17 years. That's a really long time. You do a lot of really cool stuff in that time. I only did Invincible Walking Dead for 15, 16 years. So, I'm hoping that we can have that kind of longevity with this, and we'll see where things go. But keeping things self-contained to individual series is kind of the goal to help keep everything straight. Oh yeah. Does Sean want to talk about the release?
It's not called Joy. It's just you're okay, did not mess that one up. I knew this was going to succeed, but sometimes not everyone believes that. So I could not think that it would not succeed. Otherwise, it would be crippling. And that's why I've invested so much in the top talent and people that we trusted that are experienced storytellers. And the new people that we've been working with, like Tom, and been a fan with for a while. Andrea does Cobra Commander. Our other editor, Amanda, brought him in on a one-shot horror series, and I got the first 5 pages. I was like, he's doing Cobra Commander, just because he just immediately, his storytelling, the atmosphere was exactly what we were looking for, and that's paid off. So yeah, Relief is the perfect one.
Yeah, I mean the sales on these series are far exceeding our expectations. So, we had far-reaching plans. It's exciting to actually feel like we may actually be able to accomplish them. So it's pretty exciting.
I think the first time I ever cried was watching Optimus die in the Transformers movie.
Oh yeah.
And now when he did cry with his comic book.
That's one.
Exactly.
The delight in the tears of folks with children.
I do.
And the stakes are low, but the stakes for us are pretty darn high. It's a lot of responsibility.
I know, and I am taking that seriously. I am actively trying to make something special with all of my projects and anything that I can put my name to. It's not good. We're walking to a bar last night. Robert's like, Dan, if you want to have an ongoing series, you got to learn how to draw a little less detail. I'm like, no. I have one speed, it's 100%, and maybe eventually I should say, this goes back to that previous question. I'm sorry, I don't remember your name, but you were asking switching between creator-owned and licensed stuff. I know what my body and what my spirit needs to make something special and make something that hopefully can make other people feel something, and it requires 100% all the time, 120%. And I I need to cater my schedule and the projects that I'm taking accordingly. So when I attach my name to something like Transformers, it's, I feel less pressure, but it's still a big deal.
And our tears are your Energon.
Hey, oh man, in issue 2? No, wait. Well, I just have a really fun way that the Transformers are going to drink Energon.
Now you're jumping into this whole new universe that is kind of going through its own, just for shorthand here, let's say post-crisis continuity. Is it, where does it kind of rank on the scale for you of like, fun new challenge or big new fun?
Well, I mean, easily this is the most fun thing I'm doing. DC has its own challenges right now. This is the book. These are the things I'm having the most fun with, like easily. Like every issue I write, every page is coming in. It is easily the most fun, and it is a fun challenge. I'm going to try to figure out a different kind of map than the one I'm used to right now. It's like being in DC for the last 2 years. It's a very specific kind of map with those books. Coming over here and seeing it was a very different map, but then also what Robert and Sean were looking at, I felt was unique, and I felt it was a really fun challenge. And I remember we were talking about this again. I came back around to the patient stuff, and you and I talking to someone on the Zooms, and it was like the idea that I knew I could really let these things breathe in a way that I felt I wasn't able to the last few years. It's just been awesome. I mean, it really is the most fun thing I've worked on.
Robert, can you talk about the core elements that make up Duke and Optimus Prime? If you took one of these elements out and put it into Optimus Prime, what are those core elements?
I think with Duke, I guess it would be a sense of beauty. I think that that he's like the core of G.I. Joe for me, and that's why we wanted him to be the first book. A lot of times, you can think the leader characters are boring because they're straight-laced, they're by the book, they're not really the rebel character that's going to be interesting and exciting stuff. But I think that there's something to the strength and fortitude that's needed to be the backbone of the team, and that's something that I think Josh is going to be exploring really well, and building up to finding out how he finds that strength. And then I think the key to Optimus Prime, and Daniel will probably talk about this more, is his heart, his gentleness, the way that his compassion. He's this very heroic character that is extremely capable in battle and does all kinds of cool stuff, but the fact that he cares, and the fact that he cares about humanity, and the fact that this big giant robot made out of steel has this heart to him that he's just a big softy, and I think that that's something that Peter Cullen really brought to the character with his voice work, and it's something that I'm actually in awe of how well Daniel is able to embrace that core aspect of his character. I mean, it's on display in almost every scene that Optimus Prime is in, and it's really just showing the strength of this character.
Just wait till issue 2.
So, with the success of Invincible on Amazon, and we're seeing this adult geared Transformers and G.I. Joe, I gotta ask the question, man. In the future, because the first time I ever saw someone swear on a movie was Transformers. Come on, guys, we were just what the hell? I was an 8-year-old kid saying, what the hell happened? Are we gonna see that type of Transformers if it ever comes to a streaming service as an animated series, or and G.I. Joe and Boy Rivals?
Are you asking if I would put profanity in it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm asking.
Not necessarily. It's funny, every time there's profanity in the Invincible cartoon, I'm like, did we need that? I'm the violence guy, I don't know. But I'm not necessarily the profanity guy. Unless we're just having a casual conversation with me, and then I curse up a storm. But I don't know. I think that one of the strengths of Transformers and G.I. Joe is that you can do so many different things with them, and they're still Transformers and G.I. Joe. I do hesitate to push them into too mature a space because I think that they are stories meant for children, children of all ages. Stuff that I still enjoy. But I always dislike it when somebody like I do Invincible Walking Dead. Invincible Walking Dead were never intended to be like directly for kids. And so I love how the '86 movie like pushed the envelope and told you like, hey, this is a PG-13 movie. Like we're gonna take you into some crazy spaces, and there's a lot of power to that. Like taking something that's meant for kids and like skirting that edge. But the real secret to that is skirting the edge, like making sure that you hit that level, but you don't go too far.
Yeah,
and that's something that's really important to me.
I think that was just enough for me as an 8-year-old.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you just you want it to blow your hair back as an 8-year-old, but not affect you too much.
It made it special. That was only one moment, right?
Yeah.
Are there going to be any other toys from the Hasbro verse you get to play with, such as Mask?
No plans as of yet. I mean, I love a lot of the stuff that they do. I mean, there's Micronauts out there, there's Mom,
Those got taken by Marvel, but I know Mask has it, and it fits so natural into the world of Transformers.
It'd be something that we'd love to do at some point, but no plans as of yet. There's 1,000 different characters and Transformers and G.I. Joe, and we're adding a bunch of new stuff with Void Rivals, and so we've got a lot of work just to get to some of the cool stuff. I mean, Josh is pissed off that we're not getting to the G.I. Joe characters fast enough. If we started throwing in Mask characters, oh my God, we'd never get to stuff.
He's giving me that look. It's coming somewhere. Awesome, thank you.
But seeing how many characters there are and how many toys there are, is there any room for creating something new, or are you sticking only to the things that were already created?
I mean, I think you see a lot of new stuff in Void Rivals, but I think that there's potential there for us to bring, new characters into Josh's G.I. Joe books and to what Daniel's doing at Transformers. You just have to stay tuned.
We have wonderful artists here, and I was thinking, did you have the conversation what type of artist would work in G.I. Joe and Energon universe? Because you got Riccardo Federici style, you have Scotty Young, you have Garfield Bob. There's a wide range of very talented people downstairs even. Did you talk what it makes to fit artistically and the type of style for an artist to go into Energon universe?
Yeah, we can afford them and they hit their deadlines.
I think that with Andrea, who's unfortunately not here, but Lorenzo, Tom, Daniel, there's an organic nature to what they do. I think that there's like a flow to their line that isn't as rigid as you might expect people to be drawing, Transformers to be doing. And I think that that's a really key aspect of what we put together. I think it harkens back to possibly like the way that Marvel was putting together their Transformers comics. Like they were hiring like really good, talented layout artists and comic book artists that didn't necessarily Transformers are essentially big giant buildings that are walking around and doing stuff. It's extremely, extremely difficult stuff to draw. And you can get too focused on the technical aspects of that and not focus on putting the character needed into those figures. And we're trying to find artists that will be able to straddle that line and do both.
And at the same time, there, at least for myself, I've had a working relationship with Skybound for quite a few years. And if it was anybody else but Sean that approached me with Transformers, I would not have done it. So,
what do you mean by that?
Well, I just don't see that the licensed comics would be a challenge. Hasbro is a very good company. It's been an honor and a pleasure to work with them. But at the same time, it comes with challenges. And it was Sean that was like
working with Marvel and DC isn't challenging.
Well, no, I will not comment. I'm not going to comment on that. I just mean that, when going on to do a new book with a large company like Hasbro, there needs to be some element of trust. And Sean's been an amazing editor for many years. And he actually ghost edited Do a Power Bomb. Well, he said, I was going to shout you out at the Eisners, and then you said you should have done that, so I'm doing it now. Robert's all, wait, what? I know. It was very loose. He just he gave me some feedback, and we've just had a great working relationship for a very long time. So, Sean's a big part of the success.
Sean seemed like a class.
Yeah. I just gotta shout him out a little bit, because without him, I would not be here.
Yeah, I mean, I swore off licensed books. I was like, I will never do it ever again. And then when he came to me, it was like, what about this one? I was like, okay, all right. But it was, because I think that I really trust, Robert and Sean. I've worked with Skybound a lot over the last 10 years. It really is a company I trust a lot, and I know they're incredibly. One of the things I look for in all comics is his thoughtfulness. And like what Robert was talking about with the branding and the things he did with Invincible, everything was very thoughtful. And I knew they would bring me to this. That everything was very thoughtful and considered as I'm working, so it made it exciting to work with them.
I mean, we love comics, so it's like I've, as a fan, bought certain starts of so many universes and dove into it and just studied all the mistakes. And like, we've been trying to do a shared universe for years and like put together documents of what we do, and then we're able to plug it in with such wonderful characters here, and that helps really kind of motivate us.
Who's a character that you can't wait to write or draw in your books?
I can tell you a character that I was dreading drawing. That was Jetfire. But he had to be in the script because that's how he activates the autopilot. And I was like, I can't wait to kill this guy off so I don't And by the time his death scene came, I was like, shit, I love drawing this guy.
Oh, so funny.
No comment on that.
There's definitely amazing looking G.I. Joe characters, but I don't know if I'm able to speak on who would not be in the books.
Is there someone that you wish was in the book? Yeah.
I don't know.
Just be vague. Who would be your pie in the sky G.I. Joe character to draw?
There's a guy who's also in the World Wrestling Federation.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. The tank top.
This guy.
He's got a great look. So, yeah, if he were to be in, that would be a pretty fun one.
I keep trying to sneak Firefly into all the issues, and it doesn't fit at the time. I have like a huge list of them, and every time
now that we know you want it,
I know
it's never gonna happen.
But every time I get all of the classified toys, and so every time another one comes in the mail, I open that box and I'm like, okay, how do I get this one into the issue I'm writing right now?
There is a direct correlation of a Hasbro announcement and then like something showing up in a script. It's like, bro, we're not making commercials. That's what it is. It's just like the passion kind of flows out.
No, that actually really happened. There was something they announced, and I was like, oh, that's on page 2-3 spread now. Like literally, they announced. I was watching the live feed on the Hasbro Pulse, and they just showed something. I was like, okay. Let's go in there.
How fun is that?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's just,
Hot Rod is my favorite Transformer of all time.
Are you serious?
Hot Rod.
I thought it was Jetfire.
No.
Hot Rod?
Hot Rod / Optimus Prime. Favorite Transformer of all time.
I like Optimus Prime's alt mode. That's
so
badass.
good. He's a Maven.
He's like the camper.
Oh, what?
And that was the cool version of it. That was like, this is the one. Yeah. Now he's king.
It's so good. But every issue of Void Rivals that he does not appear in is showing so much restraint on my part. So, I'm sure it'll happen someday.
Are those side characters from G.I. Joe, like the Fridge, Rocky Balboa, are they in the universe or possibly could be in the universe?
I could probably say that Rocky Balboa was 100%. in the universe. Yeah.
About the Fridge.
Sergeant Slaughter, I believe Hasbro.
But it's too early.
I can't wait for Beachhead to show up.
Oh yeah, I want to get. We'll talk about it.
I was always partial to Road Pig. Love me some Road Pig.
Oh, Beach Combat.
Shipwreck's the sailor, right?
Yeah. Well, I want him in there because I want to figure out how to write. Because Shipwreck is like impersonation of Jack Nicholson. So how do I write the Jack Nicholson voice in the comics? I've been thinking about this a lot. So when we get there, I'm going to try to figure out how to make as most Jack as I possibly can.
Okay, I think we got one more.
Yes, good job.
Yeah.
So we have Cobra Commander coming out. 2 very sensitive characters to the G.I. Joe universe. hypothetically, if not those two, who would those two be?
Oh, if we had gone with those two?
Firefly.
Firefly shipwreck.
I think Hasbro might have put up a roadblock.
Yeah, they might have said no.
First book is Shipwreck. No offense to the Shipwreck.
Yeah,
Yes, listen, I like shipwreck
I
too.
love that parrot. I wish I knew its name.
I don't know if I can say it because it's characters that we are going to be using the two that I would use. We're just not going to use them immediately. Yeah. You'll see. You'll see.
Thank you so much for coming, everybody.
Thank you.